All right, guys, welcome to my F100 and Mercury Marauder swap. So as you can see, a bit of a walk around. This is my 72 F100. It is already frame swapped with the 2011 Crown Victoria. You look inside the bed here, you can see all that stuff. And up here in Canada, we have to deal with the white stuff. So one more added problem, but we can deal with that. Running, driving, working, albeit a little rough around the edges. We have the engine inside here. Running, driving, working, done. Except I didn't use body mounts, or I didn't use rubber body mounts. I did build these frame horns for the bed and one in the back there, but I'm just not happy with it. As you can see, there's a big hole in the bed. The interior is a mess. We put the Crown Vic gauge cluster in there, Crown Vic steering column, but I just could not get the brake and gas to line up properly. Underneath all this nice soundproofing is holes in the floor. The floor is terrible. And just not happy with it. So this is getting redone. We're going to put it on a 2003 Mercury Marauder, which, if you look over here, has already been torn down. That's an 03 Marauder with 275,000 kilometers. Body was rusty and dented, but the drivetrain is great. So we've got everything apart. We've got the A-pillars cut off, dash moved out of the way, and we're ready for the swap. So follow along. I'll give you guys a little time lapse and you can see what I'm doing. There are 2 more videos about me tearing down the Marauder, but it is officially ready. I do actually have to do one more thing. This has been cut out and that's prepped, but the driver's side is not ready yet. So that's one more thing to do. Otherwise, it's ready to go. So here it is. Stay with me. Okay, continuing on here with the F100 Marauder build. We've got the cab off of the old Crown Vic frame, and we're about to cut the cab, get it ready to go on this Marauder frame. We've got the one side pocket cut out here already. I have to do the same thing on the other side. I've got to patch this little hole here in the air box, and depending on where the cab goes, I might need to put a patch over here. But I can always do that with just sound deadening material as opposed to welding it. Here's the frame. So what I've noticed is that most guys that do this swap, when they lower the cab over that and then you sit inside and all the work is done, they've always got a gap from the base of the windshield of the truck down about 2 or 3 inches to the top of the windshield of the Crown Vic. So my goal is to avoid that. So what I've seen online, a lot of guys cut under this seam. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut above it. See the white line there? All the way across. And then we're going to go straight down under where the hood hinge goes. And we're going to go on the inside of this seam. I mean, it's all rusty and nasty, so it really doesn't really matter, but so that's the plan. And then cut the rest of the floor out. As you can see, the floor is terrible. And but the back is decent. Glass is good. I've got to pull the glass out of the windshield out too, so we can weld on. And I got to cut the F100 dashboard out. So it's gonna be a good day. I'm on a time crunch here. This is actually a busy shop that I have shut down for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We've got 4 bays. So today is Sunday at 1:20. So I've got to get this thing done and out of here by the end of the day. I'll probably squeeze it till 6, 7 o'clock at night. But by that time, this cab has to be on that, tack welded in place, put this dashboard back in, put all the electronics back in, and drive this outside so we can use the shop on Monday. So, time lapse, here we come guys, stick with me. Same with over here, pinch weld, taken care of, and it's clean cut straight down. Until we get back here to the rockers are cut, but they might need to cut a bit more. Now as you can see, I'm looking through where the windshield used to be and the dash used to be. What I did was I anticipate that I won't be able to get the cab all the way down to where I want it. I want the Crown Victoria or the Marauder dash to go right here, but I don't know if it's gonna happen. So if it doesn't, I've left this little lip here that I can pie cut and bend down, and that can weld to the Crown Victoria or to the Marauder. The rest of the inside here, got the windshield out. It's actually in decent shape in spots, in other spots it's not, but in the important spots, it's pretty good. Down there, it's not. But that's why it's a buy swap. So now, what we're doing, if my measurements are right, so from halfway, so I get 65 inches right there, which is halfway in between where this B pillar was cut. And the other side is at the halfway mark too, so 65 inches is exactly half here, and 65 inches puts us just inside of here, so flush with this end piece, so flush with that side piece there. So if my measurements are right, I should be able to peel this back, cut this right down where these holes are, and we should have 65 inches very close to. I'll need to trim when the cab goes on, but that's why I have a forklift in this case. So that's what I'm doing. Let's see, that's about it. The goal is drive this thing out of here today before 6 o'clock. Time is 4:15. So guys, I'm getting to work. Talk to you soon. So, as I cut away the rocker on the Marauder, or the Crown Vic, once I get past this piece here and this piece here, there's a really nice solid piece of metal that runs all the way up. And with me cutting this flush right here, leaves me a little lip, a little space in there, and a nice solid piece of metal. So I think 65 is gonna land right on top of this metal here. So I'm hoping I can trim the truck cab a little bit, have it sit on the outside, and then just attach them with a weld or a little plate. So we'll see. This piece in the front here, I'm not sure. We will have to put the cab down and see what happens. Apparently the cab is wider at the bottom, so it might fit. I don't know. This is as far back as the cab will go, right to about here. So I can leave this or just trim it as need be. But yeah, looking pretty good. So this is gonna be, well, I guess we'll see. Now, I have to finish the other side. Yay. See you soon. Okay, final assembly. You guys are gonna walk through this with me because I couldn't find any videos that covered this step in detail. Here we go. So, more adjustments tomorrow. 6:23 p.m. It's pretty good for a day's work. See you tomorrow.